Hello everyone, Corey Anderson here. Today I'm going to be reading to you something from one of my favorite writers. His name is Wallace It's called The Law of Opulence. He wrote it back in 1907. And abundance. Abundance is a natural law of our universe. We just need to learn how to cultivate all this area that this world has for us. And then we would have more than enough for everyone to go around. Essentially, that's what this part is about, and I'm more than happy to be the one to share it with you. So, the Law of Opulence. Introduction. Learn the requirements for non-competitive success, the true secret to living happily in God's world. Since the purpose of nature is the continuous advancement of every man into more abundance, to be one with the laws of the mind of nature is to desire the advancement of all men at the expense of none. When what you seek for yourself, you seek for all, then what you get for yourself, health, wealth, and happiness, you get for all. Originally published in Nautilus magazine, edited by Elizabeth Town. So, Section 1, The Kingdom of God. To live happily in God's world, the first essential is to abandon the idea of competition and of a limited supply. Too many people never entirely succeed in doing this. Competition in business originates from the idea of a limited supply. It grows out of these suppositions that because there is not enough to go around, men must compete with each other for what there is. Many people still suppose that it is necessary that some should be poor in order that others may have enough, and believe that wealth is only possible to those who have superior abilities, or the power to attract to themselves a larger portion from a limited supply. These people try to apply principles on the competitive plane, and they do so with a fair degree of success. They try to develop a superior attracting power. They inject new motives and new energies into business methods. They assert, "I am success," all the while believing they can succeed only because 95% of all others fail. The majority of these competitive people would achieve a great measure of success because their faith gives them just the energy, push, and optimism which are necessary in competitive business. The confidence born of their belief makes the majority of their actions successful actions. They are exceptionally able competitors, and they attribute their success through thought power and to affirmations. But it is really almost purely competitive. This view sees only Caesar's kingdom. It has no conception of the kingdom of God. All the final results show that these people are only a part of Caesar's kingdom. Their fortunes fluctuate. They meet with losses, and their business suffers with panics. Their prosperity is checkered by periods of adversity. Their sense of safety is mere self-confidence. Deep in the subconscious, they always carry a germ of fear. No one can ever be wholly free from fear who recognizes any limitation of supply. For if there is not enough to go around, we know that our turn to do so without may come at any time. The lapses and failures at such people are traceable to the idea of a limited supply, to the idea that success and the attainment of wealth are possible only to a part of us. Is there any truth to this idea that competition is necessary? Let us see. The things that are essential to life and advancement, mental and physical, may be roughly grouped under 5 heads. These are food, clothing, shelter, education, and amusement. For 3 of these, food, clothing, and shelter, we look to the world of nature for supply. These three with their appurtenances and their extensions in the way of luxuries, decorations, art, and beauty, constitute what we call wealth. Is there any limitation to the supply of these? Take into consideration first the question of food supply. In this country, we have not yet begun to sound the possibilities of intensive agriculture, making 4 blades of grass grow where 1 grew before. It is a fact capable of mathematical demonstration that the single state of Texas, if all of its resources were organized for its production of food, would be enough to feed the whole planet, the whole present population of the globe, and feed them well. Our food products range from wheat, the Dakotas, to rice in Carolina, from northern fruits in Michigan to oranges in California, and Florida. This country, intensely cultivated, would feed the inhabitants of 10 worlds like this. There is no lack in the food supply. When we pray to our Father, "Give us our daily bread," we should never forget to add a thanksgiving that He answered that prayer when He laid the foundations of the world. Remember to that the work of men like Burbank has just begun. The food supply is capable of infinite development. There is therefore no need for men to compete with each other in order to get enough to eat. As to the second essential, clothing, we find the same to be true. The United States can produce enough cotton for the world, but it is not necessary to dress the world in anything so cheap, such as cotton fabrics. We have sheep ranges to supply the woolen goods for all, and fields in which to raise the flax for fine linen. There are great wastes of land now barren, where we might grow enough mulberry trees, where we can feed all the silkworms necessary to clothe the world in silks. We even have the deserts which to raise ostriches or fine plumage. We have the resources sufficient to clothe every living man, woman, and child in raiment finer than that of Solomon in all of his glory. There are undreamed of possibilities that aspises weeds by the wayside. Some Burbank presently develop them into the raw material for fabrics more beautiful than the world has ever seen. The supply of clothing is inexhaustible. No need to compete with one another. No need for one to go in sackcloth, that another may wear purple and fine linen, because there are purple and fine linen for all. Taking up the question of shelter, we find the same conditions prevailing. There are great banks of clay waiting to be made into bricks and tile. There are vast ledges of buildings and stones unquarried as yet. We have learned the brick has been made of sand and lime, and that cement is excellent building material. It is an indisputable fact that man should find of in Vanderbilts might be erected for every family in America, and when all were finished, we should hardly have made a scratch on the surface or supply of building material. No need for some to live in hovels in order that others may be delicately housed, and the supply for interior furnishings, for furniture, carpets, books, musical instruments, pictures, statuary, everything should delight the eye, in which the mind of man is truly just as unlimited. Truly, there is no scarcity of things, nor is there any lack of work that ought to be done. There is no necessity in nature for competition, either for things as for jobs. There is enough useful and beautiful work waiting to be done to keep all of us busy, all our lives, and it may be well done to point out here that there is no lack in the supply of finished product. Because labor is not productive enough to keep pace with the demands. Modern machinery has solved the problem of production. The producing power of labor has been multiplied by 600 in a little more than a generation. In making nails, for instance, one man does the work in which required 1,000 men 100 years ago, and the same is surprisingly true in all lines of industry. At the end of the increase in producing power is not yet. There is nothing in which further improvement is not possible. 6 hours' work by all of us would produce all we could use, including every known luxury, with such abundance in the whole. We do not need to compete for a part. We do not need to take thought for tomorrow. We do not need to experience panics or reverses. We need only to seek the kingdom of God and His righteous relations towards each other. And all these things shall be added unto us. And what is the kingdom of God? End of part 1 of The Law of Opulence by Wallace D. Wattles. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it to the end, I want to thank you again for taking the time to listen to this. Basically, there is no lack in any supply in this world. This is God's world, and there is abundance everywhere. We just need to cultivate all the excess land in order to make enough for everybody. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Just think about that a little bit, and how maybe you could help to furnish your own supplies. Maybe grow your own garden. Maybe plant your own trees and have your own abundance in your own backyard. And, learn how to cultivate something for you, which will inevitably in turn help those around you. With that being said, I'll see you guys on the other side of the galaxy. Take care.